Hey, Francis here, the crypto sniper. Yep, Bitcoin. Just want to say it again. This is not good. Bitcoin to be down on balance of probabilities. I don't have to be right. I'm not a fan of calling reversals. It's done a lot. BCH is going to be down as well, in my view. In fact, possibly quicker. So this whole board, it could help the other alts. We had a rising wedge for a right shoulder here. Your round number 1939.50 there. That's your neckline. That's your target, 3-4. We broke out of the falling wedge. When I first called this before the breakout of the falling wedge, we broke out the falling wedge there. Grinded, very little of a return move. Whoopsie, and what's that right now? We are in what I call an inverted HVF right now, and it looks like it's getting twitchy already as I'm talking. Not strong, the Bitcoin. So I'm going to drill into this right shoulder a little bit. This is an inverted HVF right there, and it is triggering, and in fact it has triggered. You literally saw it trigger. And it's on the neckline. It's winding up to break that neckline, guys. On balance of probabilities. I don't know that. I supposition that due to a technical strategy that has served me exceedingly well in all markets, and particularly crypto markets. We are in a break now. What is the level it wants? It wants that 39.50. That would trigger your head and shoulders. I haven't got drawn it perfectly on the round number. That's it there. And I'm going to extend it through. Literally, we've touched it. This is happening as we speak. This is live. And this is looking like it's going to be a sell. So I don't want to be holding Bitcoin. But the question is, will the alts, the second tier, second round alts that haven't had the run that Bitcoin and BCC stroke BCH has had, will they be the alternative strength? Today, Ethereum, as I suggested in the clip this morning, has done well. We had Monero be the star of the day, with a little bit of an announcement come out there. There's some others that look like they might find some bids. So assuming crypto land as a whole holds up, but the major old Bitcoin's news takes a crap in its pants, then you should be fine if you position in those other coins. If we have a more broader crypto fear, this could be a little bit more brutal, and then unfortunately, as we hate to say it, but the solution or option would be a tether. So we need to see how the big alt majors react to any developments here. So I'm going to drop it into 5 minutes, just showing you all the little continuation aspects. Those hammers for now represent a break, and that's your neckline, and that will represent a target made. So you'll break your neckline, and then you'll rally back a little bit, and that'll get everyone thinking, oh, it's going to be okay, only for it to smash down subsequently. So return moves do happen on head and shoulders. They typically do. You get a sort of late bulls charge type mentality, but we're getting continuations here, and we're getting down breaks. So it's looking grey on the Bitcoin skyline. And then I will remind you, that was beautiful, Monero, always an HVF just before, by the way, and then the volume confirms afterwards on that biggest volume right there as you blow off. Scicoin I quite like. If the alts do good, in the light of Bitcoin doing not so good, this could be a nice first setup in a new trend. But we need the volume to start coming back in. There was quite a big pump when it got down to these levels. So we'll see whether that's continuation downside or an upside. But this spike here and the strength to the upside there with a moderated down leg points to probably all the big sellers now being out. So where's that chart I wanted to show you? Is that a double bottom on Ethereum? From way up at 15 to Bitcoin, through the 15, so 15%, one Ethereum was 15% of a Bitcoin. Have we now double bottomed here? Time will tell. There's more to come on Ethereum according to the USD chart on the upside. We have looked at Litecoin, also little setups grinding up. Not huge fan yet though, not huge fan yet. These are very small setups after a mega sell-off. I don't want to be the first just yet on all that, but we'll see. If it blasts off from here, then it can prove it. I'm going to let this one prove itself to me a little bit more. You don't need to be part of that first 10%. But you might have had a double bottom there, which would mean that would be your neckline, and you may have just pumped through it with a wind up there, which makes quite a reasonable case. Pump, churn, see if it gets away, might return there. So that's your Litecoin analysis. This is why I say there's a little bit more to come from Ethereum. This is versus the Tether. So the target on Tether is actually for the 350. And we've run the second interim. We got quite close, but now we're having a pullback. So for that to finish, and you may get a little bit of overperformance. Note all the other very sweet little setups that have been offered on this. But it's worth also pointing out, we've had a false dawn before with Ethereum. We had setups around here, not so much against Tether, but more against Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin ended up being the boss again, but now slowly edging ahead against Tether. But remember, you want to beat Bitcoin, but Bitcoin might be easing. But you just have to hope Bitcoin doesn't pull the whole wigwam down on all the other cryptos. I've flown past Omasigo. That's reasonably impulsive, but it's churned a little bit after breaking, so that's our high 3. Pull back after the first interim back into the funnel. It's not in any great ripping hurry, but it's probably the nicest pattern we have at the moment for now. A lot of drawing, a lot of detail. 10x. That's a falling wedge. There's your pop. This is a bit of a return move. Basing out, are we? Question mark. Possibility for upside, not yet an HVF, but that could be a relative low one with a high one, and you could churn up and make a high 2 somewhere up here. Could be profitable, and then you could get out, get back in again if it ever forms a continuation pattern. A lot of people are a bit excited by Dash. It's a bit ugly for our standard and a bit flat bottomed. But that was a very impulsive up leg for the 3. So if it moves, it's going to be likely to the upside, I believe. But you don't want to chase it at that spike high. Ideally, you want to see it sell off, come back down somewhere into that range. And you can pick it off. Quite a big setup. And of course, if it does then do the business, maybe worth picking up because it's got quite a big target on it. But we'd ideally like it to come back down to the 6s here. 6 was a key number. You can see the key numbers. Always just draw your key levels of significance. Here we go. There, running all the way through. So, running through, running up, just can't close, goes through it, winds up to break through it, breaks with momentum, comes back, sits on it, goes away, comes back, sits on it, smashes with momentum, hangs on, falls away, comes up, stays off, breaks it with momentum. 6 is your number. So, any potential target, if I was scenario casting and having a wee guess, I'm saying you're looking at 15, which won't be bad, but you want to pick it up down here. So that's why Dash is potentially interesting. But it was a long, lazy climb up here, and then it got a little bit disorderly on that sell-off. That said, that's been negated by the strong up there. So Dash on any sell-off, not a bad shout. And then there's back to Bitcoin. I wanted to find the Bitcoin Cash for you. That's your Ethereum. That's Omasigo. Here we go. This is the one I'm looking for, and this is the one that gave so much to us. That has now turned a little bit stale. I'm going to take it off the 5 minutes. That's a bit intense, doing it over 5 minutes. What's happening here? And of course now that's disappeared. Let me have that, please. So downside, further downside here. It's at 15s. I think you're going to run into the 12s, and then you got a little wind up. That wind up may have popped to the upside though, but there's an overall downside. We've already had one downside make a target. We've had another one set up. We've had a churn and a little bit of pushback here at this level here, but generally you want to be out of this. There's a target waiting to be done and it says around 12. So, you know, weak, long grinding attempt to get back up without showing too much strength, getting anywhere near these funnels. It could even be a good short. Short against another crypto, not a short against the currency. You've got to be very careful with shorting in cryptos. You can do relative valuation, one crypto another, and even still that's very dangerous because some things can just out of the blue pump. So be super careful on that front. You can do a lot of good work and you can blow up all of that work in a single bad idea. So generally don't do it unless you've got quite a bit of experience. So looking down, but this could churn up for a while first before going down. So that little squeeze is not a down break as I've illustrated. I'll take you back into it now that you've seen the macro. It's actually an up little push. So it's going to churn a little bit at this interim, which we understand and we expect. We've made an interim and it can churn. That's when you push back. Get a little bit of a grind line going here for a while, running through all the lows. You get it smashed down later. So that's it. That's a roundup of a couple of coins for you. Not so huge about the second impulse getting almost as high on this part of the dash. That's why I'm waiting for a down leg. But at the same time, if it's really demanded, it could pump from very high up. Just structure-wise, that where it's gone low volatility but still hanging so high, I'd just like to see a little bit of an easing and it pull back. The volatility seems to have gone from that point on. I'd like a little bit of a pullback and it to make lower lows, even if it makes a nice falling wedge so that you can later get the pump out the wedge. Overperformance on this little squeeze, we were watching that. And Neo, but a lot of Neo fans, this isn't great price structure. Feels like it's got lower to go. Big fans on Neo long run. This isn't about love and hate and whatever. It's just my take. Is it a high probability pump right now from here? Generally, in terms of this footprint, broadly, I would say no on probability. Been warning folk about ARK and it's bleeding up. Nice little upward tilt and bleed, but that too could get a little bit higher, and then we would like a nice down leg so we get a bit more symmetrical setup. That's it, chaps. Don't forget we also watch metal, but nothing too spectacular going on here right now to justify us getting too excited. So there's your take on the cryptos and update. Speak to you all soon and trade safe. Nothing I say is a recommendation. You should make your own mind up about all things crypto. And of course, if you want to find out how to do HVF method and be part of our WhatsApp Basecamp and our Theory Weekend and all our webinars that I do, where you get to see which coins we're looking at before they've popped, rather than a retrospective and a quick flyby like this, you can get in touch on Trader at the Market Sniper. Contact us and fill in for a chat, and we can have a chat about your needs and whether it's suitable for you, and what it is we do and how we might help you in terms of transitioning to the promised land of a great lifestyle, trading your net worth in crypto and other markets. Speak to you all soon.